Do you know who Marquis de Lafayette is and what he did? Also, do you know what Lafayette Square is? Well, I'm here about to tell you. He was named Hero of Two Worlds because he fought for France and America. He also recommended the Bill of Rights to France. Marquis de Lafayette was born on December 6, 1757. When Lafayette was 2, his father died in a battle, and Lafayette moved to Paris with his mother. They lived with his grandfather and grandmother while his grandmother raised him. His full name was rarely used and liked to be called Marquis de Lafayette. Lafayette joined the French army in 1771 at age 19. People thought he was French and became a major general in American Continental Army. In the French army, he became captain in 1774. In 1777, Lafayette decided to move to America to fight the American Revolution, but was on the side of the American colonists. Later in that year, Lafayette met General George Washington for the first time in Philadelphia on August 3rd. Lafayette was impressed by Lafayette's bravery and became an aide-de-camp to General Washington. When he was fighting the American Revolution, he fought in the Battle of Brandywine, Battle of Lucifer, Battle of Baron Hill, Battle of Rhode Island, Battle of Green Springs, and the Siege of Yorktown, then returned to France. Lafayette fought for democracy, freedom in his life, and was against slavery in the United States. In 1792, he went back to France and decided to lead a French army against Australia. He got captured by Australians, trying to attack Australia, spent 5 years in prison. Lafayette was freed in 1797. He tried to get a law passed in hope it would end slavery by 1800, but slaves weren't freed until 1865. Lafayette had a job as a politician and as States General and a member of the National Assembly. Later on, he married Andrée de Launay in the year 1774, became one of the four richest families in France. Lafayette had 3 kids with his wife Andrée de Launay, one son, George Washington Lafayette, and 2 daughters, Eliza and Virginia Lafayette. In France, 1788, Lafayette was called an assembly in the East to respond to the financial crisis. A year later, Lafayette was elected Vice President of France's National Assembly. In the meeting, Lafayette suggested the Bill of Rights for France. He also started a school for caveat in his hometown. His wife died in 1807. Later on, Lafayette died in Paris on May 20th, 1834. Lafayette became a symbol of friendship between the French and the United States and was named Hero of Two Worlds. Still, the American flag flies over his grave in Paris. Lafayette Square. Lafayette Square Park is a landscape with skate pathways, fountains, and 5 baroque statues. But do you know the history of Lafayette Square? In the past, Lafayette Square has been used as a racetrack, a graveyard, a zoo, a slave market, and a depot for its soldiers during the War of 1812, and even held many politics and protesters and celebrations. It is located northwest Washington, D.C., bordered by H Street, Madison Place, Pennsylvania Avenue, and Jackson Place. Exactly north of the White House within President Park. Andrew Jackson Down landscaped Lafayette Square in 1851. The construction of many of Jackson's Place block buildings occurred in 1860 between 1870s. In 1962, Jacqueline Kennedy successfully made lobbies to retain the historical character of Lafayette Square. At the time of 1963 between 1971, historic houses were habitated and compatible to new buildings constructed. The square and surrounding sculptures are designated in National Historic Landmark District in 1970. Do you know that only National Historic Landmark statues are allowed? Primary materials are bricks, sandstone, and stucco for the statues. The Art Deco styles were federal and Italian. Buildings around Lafayette Square include the White House, the old expensive office building, Department of Treasury, St. John's Masonic Church, the Bartley House, the Clare House, the Renbrook Gallery, Department of Veterans Affairs VA building, and runs the national largest hospital network. Today, with its 5 large statues dating from the 1930s, are President Andrew Jackson, erected in 1853. In the 4 corners of the statue are Major General Marquis Gilbert de Lafayette, Major General Camille Jean de Wombillas of France, Brigadier General Theodore Skowalski of Portland, and Major Frederick Wilhelm von Schubert of Perusa. In 1824, the square named in honor of Marquis de Lafayette. When I went to Lafayette Square, I just thought, wow, with all those statues, tall buildings, and open grasslands go all the way back in time, I thought Lafayette Square wasn't that big, but it was huge. I stopped and wondered what it looked like as a racetrack, graveyard, and many more. Wow, I wish I could go back to Washington, D.C., just sit on a bench, just think and look at the park, what it would look like in the past and future. Next time you go to Washington, D.C., I recommend going to Lafayette Square.